Good morning or good afternoon. Welcome to this week's IG Live. I'm so excited to be talking to Sabrina Shah. And for any of you that happen to have popped in when we were doing one of our test runs this week, you know that this has taken a lot of doing to get this happening. And so, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to be such a great interview. And we are talking about this beautiful picture book, Music of the Mountains. Week's giveaway. Don't wait. It ends tonight, midnight Eastern time. You could win your own copy of this gorgeous book set in Pakistan. We're going to be talking about. Hello.
Hi. Do you see and hear me okay?
So good to see you. And I was just mentioning all the work that's gone into this. I appreciate that your willingness to do this and figure out and make it happen so we can actually have this conversation on Instagram and talk about your lovely book. So thank you very much for being here.
The one thing I could probably say right now is that I can't really see you.
Oh, no. Really? Oh, because it worked earlier.
Yeah, I can see you earlier.
Huh. So is it just the loading screen or?
No, I mean, I can hear you okay. It's just currently it's black. I'm not sure why.
Oh.
But as long as I can hear you, I think that's probably the best thing. Or I can try and log off and come back on. What do you say? I don't know.
I guess it depends on how it is for you. And maybe people watching can let us know in the comments. Are you able to see both of us all right? Because if you can't see it, then we should restart. But it's up if they can. I'm okay to go ahead unless you would rather.
Me too. No, that's fine. As long as you know if you're holding up anything. I saw you like previously. As soon as I logged in, then all of a sudden you were gone. If you can see us both, then I think it's fine.
Oh, I'm getting comments. Yes, both. Okay, great. Thank you for letting us know. Then we'll go ahead and go on. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we go ahead and start? You can introduce yourself. I bet a lot of people already know you, but if they don't, and then let us know about your journey into becoming an author, because I think you started off in the publishing world, right?
I did indeed, yes. So hi, everybody. I'm Sabrina Shah. If you don't know me, I am the author of Music of the Mountains, my first debut picture book. And yes, thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I guess my journey to getting this in my hands, a bit like most bookish people, we start off very young. So obviously I had my head stuck in a book from the age of 4 or 5 and just continued to do so until today. I think the love of words always got to me. I was always a storyteller. I just couldn't stop talking half the time. And half of those words ended up on paper. So I think throughout my college years, my university years, I naturally fell into the publishing industry. And that's where I had the absolute honor of working with Penguin Books and Transworld Publishers and Random House for a good 12 years plus, and Igloo Books and Bonnier Books as well. So it was kind of, I naturally found my place there. And although I wasn't a writer at that stage, obviously I was a writer behind the scenes doing my own little thing, but I was mostly in sales. So I was custom publishing all the books. So for example, if this book came out one year, the next year I had my hands on it and I was able to do, special editions and various things like that. So it was a really creative job and absolutely loved it. And then life just kind of, life develops and life evolves. And the next minute, I was out of London and into Singapore. And whilst I was in Singapore, I managed to, I had the blessing of being able to spend that time, not only being a mom to my beautiful 2 kids, but I basically found my love of writing for children and was able to have the opportunity to do so. So I just started writing and finishing off all those manuscripts, which are half written over the last 10 years plus. And one of them was Music of the Mountains, really. And funnily enough, a bit of a behind the scenes kind of secret. I'm not sure if many people actually know this, but it wasn't always called Music of the Mountains. That's very lyrical, and I absolutely love my editor, Lisa, at Barefoot Books for helping me get to Music of the Mountains. But before that, it was called Ruhi Rocks Her Rhythm, which is, again, alliteration. It was one that was
Like
the
that.
working title.
Mhm.
Working title. Ruhi rocks her rhythm, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of, you know, I feel it, and then I realized that she's not exactly rocking though. She's not a drummer. She's not a guitarist. She's not, you know, she's not heavy metal in any sense. So I think the natural kind of melody and the natural rhythm of it slooped is that a word? Sort of swayed towards the more lyrical side of things. Hence, Music of the Mountain was born. So I went from selling books for other people, essentially, and creating them, to writing and publishing and selling my own. So that's a quick tidbit of
Do
how
you
it all
think that
started.
do you think that knowing the book industry as well as you did, do you think that helped you, that you kind of had an idea of what it would be like, or do you think it was like overwhelming
Yeah.
as a creative person, that you were thinking too much about like the technical parts of it, or I don't know?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because I myself am very analytical, and that's where my project management skills come to play. So I had like a million projects going on at the same time, and it probably suited me because then I had a million manuscript ideas in my head going on at the same time. And I guess coming from the business side of things, I know it's a tough industry for any writer out there, and I know how tough it is on the business side of things as well. And it's such parallel worlds to be in. But I was really fortunate to have that side a little bit. So I didn't go in with over expectations. I guess I was a bit grounded, is probably the best way to say it. But when I started to be like, right, I'm going to go from a writing, I'm going to try and get an agent, I'm going to do this, do this, do this. Obviously, that was a brand new world for me, trying to get an agent and everything like that. But from the publishing side of it, I was all right, this takes time. And actually, I didn't sell my book until 2021 is when Barefoot Books obviously offered it, published in 2025. That's like 3.5 years later in that sense. So it is a lengthy time, and you need a lot of patience for that. So I think, coming from the background that I did have, I was in a fortunate position to actually be like, okay, I kind of know how this stuff works. So stay grounded, stay humble. And, you know, rejection will come, and it's going to take time. So, and it's a really hard for a lot of writers out there who might not come from that background, but obviously we all dream. We all want to have that offer land on our table and stuff like that. I guess I was a little bit more, you know, just had a bit more patience with it, I guess, in a weird way.
Yeah, I think that must be very helpful. And of course, and now we all get to enjoy your new picture book, Music of the Mountains. I love like the story of how the title came about. But tell us, for those that don't know about it, about the book, and what was the inspiration behind it?
The inspiration, wow, it comes in loads of little bits, I guess. Firstly, this is an ode to my family and my roots and my culture. It's for my mum and dad, who are no longer with us. So it's one of those things where I'm so glad I'm holding it in my hands, because it's a bit of a legacy of theirs. And the inspiration came from the rabab music. And the rabab, which you can see, is this instrument. And if you can see that, I don't know if I can just turn this a little bit. But over there in front.
Oh, wow, there it is. Nice.
Rabab, but I'll show you a little later if you guys want to see it properly. But that is a very traditional instrument from our culture, from our side, our family in Pakistan. And it's a beautiful, unique stringed instrument. And I grew up hearing it and listening to it when my mum used to put it on her cassette tapes. Yes, I'm that old. And we just used to listen to these beautiful songs, and it just stayed with me. And so as I grew up, I was thinking about, what can I write about, which is a story only I can write, or something that only I could tell in a voice that only I can speak, or, you know, when you try and find something, a story that you can tell, basically. That came about, and I was like, I'm not sure if anybody even knows what a rabab is. And this northern part of Pakistan, which is like probably not heard of very well, or they have, but, you know, the kind of way that people think of Pakistan, like, what can I do? Because it's such a beautiful area. It's like Switzerland of Pakistan, in that, if you can imagine what it would look like. Beautiful mountains, cherry blossoms, rivers and lakes. That's basically what it is. So the inspiration came from there. It came from my mum and what she used to listen to. And then the other inspiration came from my dad, actually, because he was always the one to push me, whether it was me swimming or me wanting to write or me wanting to be the musical one in the family. I think I'm the one that picked up the guitar. I'm the one that wanted the keyboard. was a recorder player in my school. I even got an electric guitar once, and then my dad said, no, that's enough, you need to sell that. So I was like, oh, I pushed him too far. So he was just like, okay, no electric guitar, that's going. So yeah, and he was always the one that kind of encouraged me to not stop and continue, you know, fulfilling my dreams or following my dreams and my ambitions and my hobbies. So yeah, and I think being the slight introvert that I am, I say slight introvert, I'm pretty introverted when it comes to certain situations, that the theme that runs in this whole book is about a little girl who's wanting to learn the instrument, and obviously her grandfather is learning or teaching her. But when he unfortunately falls ill, she has to then fall upon herself, her own efforts, her own time, her own nerves to kind of overcome that anxiety of having to learn by herself, especially with the Eid concert coming up. So obviously she has a deadline, like many of us do, and she needs to learn this for the concert. And I think we've all been in that position where we've had to stand in front of a group of people, as I am now, sitting in front of all of you, swallowing the nerves and just, yeah, embracing your inner strength and being able to, you know, overcome that initial, you know, moment and then just doing what you want to do. So it's all encompassing. There's all a bit of me in there, a bit of family in there. And so, yeah, that's kind of the main thing.
Oh, I love that. And like you said, that theme, I think that's something, it's so interesting because in some ways this book is very culturally specific, but the theme of it, I think, is something anybody can relate to. But so I want to get into that. But first, can you tell us more about the rabab and why? I mean, you talked about growing up listening to it. So do you play it at all? I can't remember. I mean, you talked about different instruments, but
it is. It's a bit like the guitar. I mean, let me show you. It's once they have. But yeah, this is the rabab, everybody. So it's a stringed instrument, so it's like a guitar, but there's a million pegs, basically, and there's about 16 strings, and you play like the main 5 or main 6, and then you got all these amazing little ones. I don't play it as well as I want to, and this one is untuned and sounds very at the moment, if you can hear that. So it is a beautiful stringed instrument. I mean, I won't play it that badly, but like, it's just like a guitar essentially. But I know some at the back of the book, basically, I put a QR code, and you can actually listen to some amazing bands from Pakistan and around the globe playing it. But yeah, it's just, I think the most unique thing about it is that the rabab itself has got a really beautiful intricate inlay of like mother of pearl and things like that, and it's a very decorative thing to have. So the more lavish the rabab is, in a sense, it's kind of, it's like someone's baby. You buy it, or you add more to it as you go along. So yeah, it's one of them. I don't play it as well as obviously some other people who are absolutely amazing in it. I'm better on the guitar, mind you. I'm just going to be self-saying I'm better on the guitar.
It's so beautiful, like you said. I mean, it's beautiful to listen to, but also just so beautiful to look at. And I shout out to Barefoot Books. One of the things I always love about their books is they have, I mean, they do beautiful stories, but then they have all this back matter. Like you said, there's more information, and you have links to where you can actually listen to the music, and there's a whole explanation of the rabab at the back. Just so you know, I'm showing the pictures of it. I know you can't see me. But it is really amazing. Yes.
Exactly. You know the bands, these are the old instruments of it. And that was the most important thing about it as well, because it's educational. It's perfect for like music teachers in classrooms, and just basically introducing children to an instrument they may not have ever heard of before. Right. And it's something that they can explore and hopefully fall in love with as well, and just, you know, be able to learn something new.
Yes, and then there's, like you said, then there's kind of the emotional heart of the book, which is the relationship she has with her grandfather, and then the fact that she has to persevere through these challenges to do something she's really nervous about. What do you hope readers take away from the book?
I hope after reading it, I mean, they follow her on a journey about, you know, this one-to-one support that she has with her grandfather, which I'm hoping, you know, at some point in our lives we've all resonated with, whether that's support of a teacher, a caregiver, your parents, your older siblings. We always have that, hopefully, support around us. But when that's taken away from us, or when that's sort of drifted and we're going to have to stand on our own 2 feet, it's about embracing your inner strength and just knowing that you have the energy, you have it within you to draw upon your self-confidence, the perseverance, like you said, and to be resilient and to just have faith in that you can actually, it's going to sound really cliche, you can do and achieve anything you want to if you just believe in yourself, and you literally just have to give it a go. And sometimes it works out absolutely amazing, and sometimes you fail, but then with them, it comes with the learning process. So I think if kids are going to take anything away from this, it's to try, continue to try until you are happy with the end result. And, you know, it's all a learning curve. And at the end of, well, I won't spoil it in case people haven't read it, but yeah, she finds obviously her own rhythm, her own way of doing this. So yeah, I think it's more of a tale of perseverance, self-resilience, and to believe in your inner strength.
I think that's something interesting, that it's kind of a really nuanced concept, but it comes across really clearly in this story, is the idea that on one hand she's drawing on this relationship with her grandfather, and he advises her, you know, draw on the strength of your ancestors. So she's kind of drawing on that tradition, but at the same time she's learning, as you said, she learns to find her own way of doing it and her kind of her own rhythm. So how does she find like that balance about embracing tradition and yet also kind of finding her own way of doing it?
I think the whole aspect, or the theme of drawing upon your ancestors, is because this instrument is like thousands of years old, and it's had so much influence across the South Asian sort of continents. There's variations of the rabab through different cultures as well, like Chinese, Indian. So when I say ancestors, this is specifically for my cultural roots. And they used to sing folk songs of love and family, but also of hardship and challenges. And the rabab actually goes really well with a particular drum and a particular beat. So whenever I just used to hear the stuff that my mum used to play on the radio, you know, there was always a lovely clapping sort of drum beat that went with it. And so that is what resonates and kind of flows throughout the whole book. Her rhythm is something that obviously her grandfather is trying to teach her with the rabab, and you can just imagine this clap 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 rhythm that's going through, and that's like from the ancestors. It's such a beat in our cultural things as of today. But at the end, she's trying so hard to try and make everyone else happy and her grandfather happy, and to do this rhythm that eventually, when she finds her own, it's slightly different. So I love doing read alouds with children because obviously they all clap along with me, and they all do the whole clap, clap, clap thing. And, you know, it's going through the book as I'm reading through it. But right at the end, the rhythm changes, and you can see this upbeat. And it's what Ruhi has found herself. So then it becomes a clap, 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 clap. So it's a faster beat, and it's something that she starts to resonate with. And so, yeah, I think she's drawn from her ancestors' roots. And what they, you know, as anyone we've been taught generations and generations to generations, but then she takes her own twist on it and creates her own. So yeah.
That's beautiful. And speaking of roots, I know something you've talked about on social media, which, by the way, for anyone watching, if you're not following Sabrina on social media, you should be. You do such great like reels and posts and things. So that's at Sabrina Shah Stories. You should follow her. But something I know you had one post about being British Pakistani, because you're British Pakistani, and you talk about how that doesn't make you less Pakistani. And so what did this book mean for you, especially as someone who's part of the diaspora, and maybe you might imagine kids who are reading it who are also part of the diaspora? How is this book like especially meaningful for you?
I think like anyone who's coming from a diverse background, especially in the publishing industry, we all grew up with books that we didn't see ourselves in. And that's a reality, that's a fact of the publishing industry. Like there weren't many, let's say, brown faces or even Muslim representation or anything like that. We grew up in a very different world in the 80s and the 90s. And so for me, I wanted my children to, and you know, children across the UK, for example, as I am British, and anywhere in the diaspora, to be able to pick up a book and be like, hold on, mummy or daddy or whoever they picked up the book with, she kind of either looks like me, or oh, she's from a place that, you know, grandpa's from, or, you know, oh, I visited that place with mum last summer because we've gone back to our family home back in, you know, back to where it would be, Pakistan for this example. And I wanted them to have that connection. And I think the more we go on in this world, we're such a global environment and we are such a global species now that we are all like third, fourth, fifth generation of something or another. We may not be living in the place which we originally came from, or however you want to say it. So we still need connections. And I think my story hopefully opens up a world to those from the diaspora, from anyone from a Pakistani or a South Asian background, to be like, oh, actually, this is a really good connection story. Not only from, oh, I can actually remember the time that I may have visited, you know, different generations back home, but also those that aren't very familiar with this culture, or, I mean, it says a story in Pakistan, but again, the themes are really universal. And so anyone can pick up this and be able to be like, yeah, I want to learn the guitar, or I picked up the trombone yesterday and I really want to have a go on it. But this theme, this universal message within this theme is about, you know, not giving up on something you want to do, and persevering and getting over there. So I want the kids from the diaspora to know that, you know, we're trying, we're trying as authors to hopefully have an amazing selection of books that show them, that have representation in there, but also not to alienate other children or any other readers. And they can still pick up this book and be like, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm resonating. I'm, you know, I'm connecting in a way with them.
Yeah, and I think it does that in such a great way, like you said, about these universal themes. And yet, I know a lot of times authors don't have a lot of interaction with illustrators. So I don't know if that was the case with you and Manal Mirza, who is the illustrator, is so amazing. But I know she's talked about, I mean, she's also part of the diaspora, in that she talked about trying to pick up on the textiles of Pakistan, and you can see, I mean, just these gorgeous outfits that that Ruby is wearing. Yes, I am. I'm holding up some pictures of it now, and not just in her outfits, but you can see it in some of the background. Like here's the stage that she's playing on, and it's really, it's so beautiful how she incorporates all of that. And so, did you have much interaction with her, or how did you feel when you saw these illustrations?
We did have some interaction as well, because I think it's quite a unique story to tell, and we wanted to be really factual and represent it in a way which everyone was comfortable with, especially me, obviously, because it is something which is like close to me and my family and my heart and my roots and everything. So we wanted to be correct, if you know what I mean, if that's the best way to say it, and we liaised quite a bit on where my vision was. And I love illustrators, so obviously they have their own vision. We as authors need to respect that, and I gave her pointers, let's say I gave her pointers of this is what I'm seeing, or this is the kind of material we use, this is the kind of attire we kind of have, that I had, you know, as I was thinking about this manuscript. And she came back and she blew my mind, in a sense, honest to God. She was like, she came back with obviously this cover, which is really traditional, almost in the line of Pakistani truck art, or just basically South Asian truck art. And with all the intricate, there's no real, she has a lovely palette in this as well, which I think a lot of people who have read the book and have seen the book, the illustrations are just lovely. They're just super stunning. And I can't say, I know I'm the author, I might be biased saying it, but I was so happy when I opened it up, because it just captured exactly what I was wanting to have. I don't think, she couldn't have done a better job. Honestly, I was so happy with what she did. And she was true to all the little nuances as well, even down to like how mom may have like worn her scarf. And I didn't ever say, hey, they need to be in scarves or anything like that. But she created this, and she's given them such warm, lovely personalities. You can see how close like her and grandpa are. And to be the really funny thing about it, again, a little behind the scenes kind of tidbit of information, I just said this is the kind of, oh, I got it with me. We have a very traditional hat that we wear in my culture, and I give it. Oh, that was the rabab for you. Apologies. We have a really traditional hat. It's called a pakol. And I just, sent a picture of it and said, this is what I would really love them to wear every now and again, and that kind of stuff. And she did an amazing job with it. And then I know he's smiling here. You can't really see it because he's with the beard. But Grandad is wearing this really traditional waistcoat, and she's wearing a very traditional, Pathan dress, which is obviously our people as such. And it's quite Afghan at the same time, because obviously there's cross-cultural things there because they're so close in geography. But he really looks like my dad.
Oh.
And when she sent me this, I was like, you don't know what my dad looks like or what I even envisioned. But I was like, this is an older gentleman. Obviously, he would wear a pakol, blah, blah, blah. He's a granddad. And I just, one day, just when she sent this through, I just looked at my dad. I was like, oh my God. Like, you know what I mean? If you can imagine, if you guys have watched the movie Up, with the Disney Pixar, whatever it was, and the one with the balloons in the house. If you can imagine the older gentleman in Up, that's literally my dad as well. And then she went to the book, and I was like, you know what, you just made my heart so full with all of this. So all the little nuances that she did, including this, it's amazing, and I can't rate Manal enough. She's an absolutely amazing artist, and she made the book what it is. So I can't be more thankful. So.
It just goes with the story so well. It's so beautiful, and we only have a few minutes left. So I one thing I have to ask is about upcoming projects, and I'm especially curious because I know you have mentioned this is just your first book that's out, and it's such a sweet picture book. But you also say that you write middle grade horror. So I'm just thinking, how does that come together? Are they really different in your mind? Do you have to do something to kind of switch gears between projects, or how does that work?
Massively, and I'll keep it short because I know we should have run on time, but I'm a massive movie goer. I watch horror movies. I was, one of the 80s, 90s kid which grew up on Nightmare on Elm Street and all the Goosebump books and everything like that. So I've just been in love with anything mysterious and suspense and thriller for the longest of times. So I naturally write kind of spooky stuff. And this is obviously my picture book head, but then when I go into my middle grade or my young adult YA kind of head, I have to go dark. And it's fun. It is fun. And I came from a filmmaking background as well, so I'm a screenwriter. So I had to put a lot of action in my film scripts. And so with that, I'm very visual. So all of that visual, action-packed, kind of spooky, ghosty, monster coming out of the cupboard kind of stuff, that goes straight into my middle grade, and I need to tap into that, because otherwise I'm doing this and all lovely, nice stuff, but then I have to go full on, I need to scare the socks off a few people. So yes, I write middle grade horror, and I'm currently on sub with one of my novels. So fingers crossed, who knows, I hope a publisher out there, editor out there feels it's good enough to put out there in the world.
Well, I can't wait to read it, especially after reading this picture book. I'm so curious to read your horror book stories. So I'm looking forward to it. Yes. Well, when they come out, we'll be sure to share it with all of you and our stories. Thank you so much for talking with us. This is so fun to talk to you.
And thank you so much for having me, everybody.
Yeah, and thanks to all of you for watching. If you haven't entered the giveaway, go do it. It ends tonight, midnight Eastern time. You could win a copy of Music of the Mountains. It is such a beautiful book, so don't miss out. Yes, and if you joined us late, this will all be up on Instagram in a few minutes and later on our YouTube channel. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.